Welcome back to N2 the Chatterverse, where two gents share their 2 cents on pop media. I am Victor Dandridge, lovingly called the hardest working man in comics.
And I'm Bill, and I'm trying to figure out what I can do with $130 million.
Well, I mean, if you were Disney, what would you possibly do? Would you overpay for a show that doesn't perform as well as you want it to?
I mean, that's pretty much open to almost all of them, isn't it?
That is true. That is true. You did hit me off with that magic bit of trivia that in terms of scale, which one would I have thought cost more to make, Obi-Wan or The Acolyte? And I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong.
Well, you knew you were going to be wrong because I asked the question.
I mean, fair. But
I would have asked the question if it wasn't, because that's the way that goes. Well, I think I'm going to trick them. Like, no, you're not going to trick anybody with that kind of question.
It's amazing to me.
And it was $140 million. But
Jeez.
yeah, $230 million for The Acolyte.
Yeah.
Versus $90 million
for Obi-Wan. If you're Ewan, do you go back and be like, what? Like, y'all got to come off of that. Some of that's got to go to me, right? Like, y'all got to give me something. Give me some residual of some sort. I don't even know how that might work with streaming, but I don't care. Y'all got to give me more.
I know. I think that you go back and go, I know what to do with the $140 million.
You can make another Obi-Wan is what you can do. Jeez. That's crazy. Okay, so on this episode, what we are going to do is we're going to rank MCU movies, but we are not doing it like everybody else does, trying to say, well, this one's the best, this one's the best. No. We're going to talk about our 3 least favorite. What are the 3 worst entries to the MCU that there are? Now, this is an interesting one because normally I'm much more of a positive thinker, but I think it is kind of important to kind of showcase, like, I don't love everything. There are some things that I am critical about, and the MCU has earned my ire a time or two. So I think that's fair. Now, number one, with this context of how many movies there are we including Sony Pictures or the Spider-Man-esque franchise into that? Because it technically is MCU, but not MCU officially.
I don't really care because I don't think that any one of those movies is as bad as the Disney product.
As bad, you're absolutely right. Far From Home was on my list, though, in terms of bad ones. I did not like Far From Home.
Yeah, but is it the worst?
Of the MCU total? No. But I would. It might be in my bottom 10. That's a weird statement.
Yeah,
it
but
might
still,
be in
it's
my bottom
not.
10, but not the worst.
But it's not the last 3.
Okay. All right. So in terms of last 3, I'll go ahead and get the ball rolling. Eternals. I did not like Eternals for what it was, and I especially didn't like Eternals for what it wasn't. As a showcase feature, I was very excited for the concept of the Eternals coming in. Big fan of Jack Kirby, love his, grand scale, big epic storytelling, all of that. I even like Neil Gaiman's iteration of it with John Romita Jr. because it's still a little more homegrown. I think this is closer to what we got in terms of characterizations. But my biggest issue with this one was, one, the lack of true connection to the Infinity Saga, which I think it definitely should have been referenced in more ways than not. Specifically speaking, if Arishem the Judge has this plan that there's going to be this new celestial that's birthed from Earth, when Thanos snaps half of humanity, half of all living civilization away, and part of the gestational period for a celestial is sentient life being on a space, then I think the celestial should have shown up. And at the very least, they should have sent the Eternals to be like, you're messing with the celestial plan, sir. Like, I get what you were trying to do. No, this is not for you. You're in trouble, and we should interject. That lack bothered me to the fullest. Did you care about any sort of connection to Infinity War directly or indirectly?
No.
So I'm just a nerd? Is that really?
No. It's just, I think that you tend to overthink things.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I do that at times myself. I just didn't like the movie.
Same.
And I really, really love Salma Hayek.
I know. Listen, I love Salma Hayek. I love Angelina Jolie.
I think I didn't have a problem with anybody in that cast, to be honest with you.
Period.
I just didn't like the story. And the ending only made it worse.
1,000,000%, because it has an ending that's now even less referenced than the Infinity Saga was throughout the whole movie. Although we are getting a reference coming up in Captain America.
But it's a key reference.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
But wow, was it ignored?
It took forever.
Right.
Right.
And
but yeah, this movie also is on my list. But like, I don't have I don't have it as whatever 33 or 30. Whatever.
oh god, 45. It'll constantly go down on the list, and like it would take a lot to beat that one as worst movie for me. But what do you have as your number one or negative number one in this one?
So, as much as I liked Thor. Thor was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Ragnarok, I really enjoyed.
Absolutely.
I did not like the second or the fourth movie.
So no Dark World and no Love and Thunder.
No love.
Okay.
No thunder. Very dark.
Very Dark World.
So I'm putting those as Thor.
Okay. What was it about them that fell flat for you? Because they are both very different movies from each other.
Right.
But to like collectively hit the no button for you, what was it?
Well, I think the biggest problem was that the second movie missed everything.
It did.
It's like there's supposed to be a love interest there, and
I'd see no
like
interest
no
whatsoever.
chemistry whatsoever, and you had a villain that was what?
Right?
And I'm just like, I think I've watched this movie twice, and I still don't know the movie.
I get it. What a miss too, because Christopher Eccleston he's awesome.
Okay, so if Eccleston had been on probably 2 seasons of Doctor Who, he would have been my favorite Doctor.
I see. That's what I'm saying.
But I didn't love like Matt Smith
Yeah.
in Morbius.
Yeah.
And I didn't love Capaldi in the Suicide Squad. So that's
these-
three.
That's
of the
3 doctors that can't.
that just didn't hit.
They can't turn heel. Is that what it is?
No, I will say this: I did love David Tennant.
Now his Purple Man.
Yeah,
It was fantastic.
and that show sucked.
So
There was so much about that show sucked. Anyway, back to the movies.
yes.
Love and Thunder was just too much of what they were trying to do with Ragnarok, and once again, love interest and no chemistry.
None. That one, it disappointed me so much because there were so many great things going for it. You know, when you're like, oh, Christian Bale is going to be in it, and he scored the God Butcher. Oh, this is going to be amazing. That fell flat. The idea of bringing in Mighty Thor, I'm like, oh, that's going to be interesting. I fell flat. Like, completely. Even the Guardians being in it, I didn't care. It just
Well, that was just more of the same.
yeah, and it was just unfun.
And I loved Russell Crowe as Jor-El.
But this was not.
This was the
This was
worst.
not that at
the
all.
worst version of Zeus I've ever seen.
It was the flicking around of the Thunderbolt. That was the one I was like,
It just
dumb.
the only thing that was missing was like a can of Chef Boyardee. The way he was acting.
I feel like everyone did that movie on a dare. I was like, I bet you won't do this. Oh, wow! I bet I can.
And I love Taika Waititi.
Yes.
And it's just like he didn't show up.
No. He got a check and walked away.
Yeah.
Like that's the only way to explain that. Because how do you make Ragnarok and then do that?
Yeah.
Because Ragnarok had heart, it had charm, it was fun. Not just funny, but fun. And then Love and Thunder.
How do you make Jojo Rabbit and then make that?
Jojo
Rabbit had you all over the place.
I agree. God, that's a good one. Okay. Oof. Did I just forget my next one? Because I immediately latched onto what I ultimately said was going to be the one that I was going to talk about that I don't like. I don't like Love and Thunder. I think that was going to be on my list as well. So since you talked about it, I will skip that one. And I will strictly go straight to the next one, which is, for me, Iron Man 3. I don't like Iron Man. No.
I was going to say.
No, I'm taking it back. Avengers 2 I hate more than I hate Iron Man 3. I'll end with Iron Man 3. But Avengers 2 I actually hate more. You were with me. We were watching it. I hate it so much I spilled my drink like on my second time watching it. That was very embarrassing. But I hate it because where the first Avengers so successfully took a collection of stories that all the initial first movies, plus Iron Man 2 technically had in it, and culminated in the Avengers. Avengers 2 did nothing of the sort. It took no work that had already been established in those previous like phase 2 entries and built a movie out of it. Like the fact that Tony had destroyed all of his armors in Iron Man 3, but then all of a sudden he had the Iron Legion and a new armor. How does that work? Like, why? Why do you just make the Iron Legion out of the old armors that you blew up in the third movie? Like, come on, like make it make sense. Ultron not being the algorithm that was mentioned in Captain America: Winter Soldier that was targeting people. Like that should have been what Ultron was it was the living embodiment of that algorithm. And now this is why he picks targets like he does, and he's fighting humanity like he does, because it's based off of that storyline and just upgraded. Like there were so many different things that it could have been, should have been, that just wasn't. And it made me so mad. It's got one of the biggest plot holes of all time when you literally have Ultron trying to go for the casket that's got the body of Vision in it, and they're sliding it into the back of the Quinjet, and he flies in and he grabs Widow. Not the casket that has the thing that he wants. He grabs Widow. For what? Like, there's no reason for that. And he doesn't even like cripple the Quinjet to make sure like Hawkeye dies. Like, no one can fly that's there. Like, kill everybody. Like, that's your goal. It's chock full of holes. Full of holes. You actually made a really good point too, that there is a love interest set up. You talk about chemistry.
Yeah.
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah.
I mean, all due respect to Mark Ruffalo, he's a handsome guy, but Widow shouldn't be suddenly chasing after the Hulk without some sort of explanation, because literally in that first movie, when he changes, she's terrified of him the entire time.
Yeah.
Even when he mock changes, and don't lie to me, and she pulls it like, and now all of a sudden she's like, "What's up, big guy?" No, like that feels wrong, like literally wrong. Yeah.
So you believe that she would be with Jon Favreau over Mark Ruffalo?
Now, when you say it like that.
By the way, I love Chef. I absolutely love that movie. I will watch that movie over and over again.
The movie is fantastic.
But it is definitely Favreau's like, this is my fantasy.
Yes.
I get 2 hot women.
That want me.
They are absolutely gorgeous, and they are brilliant people.
Yes. And they want me.
And yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, I'm not a big fan of that.
Listen, that's a good sandwich. That's all I'm saying.
So I don't like Joss Whedon in the first place.
Fair. And I've learned not to like him, not just for like private opinions, but like his work is not living up to standards. Like, I still appreciate Avengers 1. But other than that,
and that's the thing that got me, is that I had to admit I liked that movie. And when I said I liked the movie, and people were like, they were shocked. I'm like, why are you so shocked? It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
I don't like Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
I don't like his writing. I don't think he brings something more.
Yeah.
He writes really strong women. I'm like, he writes stories for really attractive women. I'm sorry.
There's a difference. There is a difference.
But yeah, I loved Avengers, and I'm like, oh, Ultron? Okay.
I was ready.
All right. And then and the voice of Ultron.
Come on. David was, that was perfect.
And you're just like, this is going to be so, oh my God, it was awful.
Yeah.
It was awful.
I agree.
But it didn't make my list.
Well, that's all right. That's all right. What did make your list?
So we've already got 2 down.
Yeah.
There isn't anything I liked about Marvels.
Nothing at all. not a dance sequence, not a montage of training. Very semi kid friendly Samuel L. Jackson.
I would give you Kelsey Grammer.
Dang, not the after credit scene was the best part.
Yeah.
I can't argue.
There's so much wrong with that
Yeah.
movie, especially from the standpoint of, wait, there's two characters that are in this that I have no idea who they are. Well, you would have to have Disney Plus in order to watch two TV shows.
That you've brought that up before, and I think that's such a poignant like position, because it's like when it comes to creating like this collection of things, I don't think they marketed it that way either. Like, at least with Avengers, like the marketing for Avengers kind of told you like, hey, you are supposed to have watched these other movies to get what this is.
Yeah.
And they told you that.
Yeah.
The Marvels does not do that.
And I also don't, from that standpoint, I don't mind that, because this is, while it's the first Avengers, it is a sequel to all those others.
Exactly.
I have a problem with, no, I don't have a problem if you're building off a TV show.
Right.
But the problem comes with, you have to have a subscription in order to watch that TV show.
Yeah.
And not a huge fan of WandaVision. I think it's okay.
Sure.
Through 3 episodes of Agatha, I think that's a better show somehow. And Ms. Marvel wasn't for me, but I didn't think it was a bad show.
Gotcha.
But this movie I never bought Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. And I think it's the way it was portrayed.
Okay.
It's not that for me, it's gender swapping, but yes, I understand that Carol Danvers ends up being Captain Marvel.
Right.
I am of the people that Marvel was the original Captain Marvel.
Right.
And he was a man. I don't have a problem with gender swapping. You can do whatever you want. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
It's she's supposed to be sarcastic, and she's more or less...
She's kind of mean.
She's more like annoyed.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's trying to come off as sarcasm, and I see it, but it's more like I'm annoyed with everything.
Like, why am I here?
Yeah.
Type stuff.
So it's a story that I don't even remember what it was.
I think that's part of the thing for me that's a miss. Story is everything for me.
Yeah.
And I thought that there were places and spaces for them to delve into deeper characters that they chose not to do. Like, maybe it was too grown up for them to go into the character space. Because I thought, in context of the relationship, you had Monica having, grown up without Carol, her aunt Carol, and being disappointed in her, and Monica influencing what Kamala was like, oh, I'm idolizing her, and Monica's like, don't. She'll walk away from you. She'll leave you hanging. Like, and that would be an interesting sort of dynamic where Carol is this piece that's pulled between the two. But I guess that might be a little bit more teen drama and very serious versus what this movie was edited into being. Yeah. Not to say that they didn't have scenes that might have done so, but they just didn't do that in the final production.
I did like the swapping.
Swapping was fun.
Yeah. That made the movie fun.
Yeah.
But clearly, I'm not alone in this, because this is like the worst
listed.
It's like it made like $200 million, $300 million or something like that. Something stupid.
To drop from a $1 billion franchise to only make that is not a lot. I will say, from a narrative standpoint, the one thing I specifically will hold true forever and ever as a miss was the scene when they were trying to gather the Flurkin kittens together, and the fact that they did not use Monica to create laser points to guide all the kittens. Absolute miss, because there's a lead into it early on when Bree is on the ship with Goose, and she uses the laser pointer to get him to do stuff, and I'm like, it's like it's Chekhov's gun. Like, you already set it up. How do you not use this again?
So all this falls under Bob Chapek wanting everything to go. He wanted as much stuff to go on Disney Plus as possible, which is why we had so many TV shows. Which is why they're scaling back, which is why we had so many movies, which once again they're scaling back. And it doesn't resonate with me, other than just it got what it deserved.
Gotcha.
And Disney got what they deserved.
Yeah. Very much so on that one. Very big slap on the hand. All right, so my last one is Iron Man 3. And I've not liked Iron Man 3 for a long time. Like, I've held on to not liking it. It was the first of the MCU movies that I truly did not like initially, and it hasn't grown on me since. And it's not even for the sense of, oh, the switcheroo of the Mandarin. I'm not a fan of that, though Trevor has become a beloved character in my heart and mind because I love the showcase in Shang-Chi and all these different things. That was fun. What I did not like was, again, the lack of context to the greater MCU at the time. You've got Stark making threats to a terrorist. Where is S.H.I.E.L.D.? S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't show up at all. Like, Stark actually gets attacked at his home. Where is S.H.I.E.L.D.? S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't show up. Like, I don't understand this. Like, this doesn't make sense to me. You've got Tony, and forgive me for anyone that's watching from a mental health capacity, it felt super sudden that he was stricken with this anxiety complex after all the things that he's been through. Now he's stricken with anxiety. That bothered me. I'm like, you got kidnapped for 3 weeks, almost mortally wounded, and you decide to build a suit and you're fine. You go through a portal and you help save the day, and that's the thing that triggers you? Like, all that, like, it seemed like a rip from the headlines talking point of anxiety attacks, because I think we became more publicly aware of people having them, and so they put that into the movie. But I'm like, for this character, I think that's inappropriate.
Well, and I think going back to the comics, they had started, like, in the first one to set it up for the alcoholism.
Yes.
And they just kind of went away with from that completely.
Yep.
I'm going to focus in on one thing that you said.
What you got?
You like comic books, right?
I do. I love them.
So you understand that when Superman does something in Superman, it doesn't necessarily resonate with the Justice League. Very true.
Very, very true.
So I just find it ironic that you're like, this other group didn't show up.
Well, here's the thing though.
During his solo.
Issue. But like, they did show up in the solo in the first movie. Like, that was still S.H.I.E.L.D. We didn't know that that's what they were specifically called unless you were that actually nerd like I was. But that was S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
So now that they've been established as S.H.I.E.L.D., not even saying the Avengers had to show up, just S.H.I.E.L.D.
He finally gets his own show.
Right.
And
I need other people. I need other people because your scale is bigger now. You know, like that's my like.
I just find that
it is
that ironic. I don't disagree with it, but also it's not even my least favorite Iron Man movie.
What's your least favorite?
It's Iron Man 2.
How do you not like Iron Man 1.5? Because I always consider it 1.5. It's not. It's a continuation of one. In my opinion.
First one was so good.
It was,
and this one it just fell off the cliff.
But
it fell off the Avengers 2 cliff.
I mean, okay, where does it lose you? I mean, Mickey Rourke, he was fun. No,
he wasn't fun at all.
All right,
the Russian accent thing, and
I want the bird. Yeah. Give me bird.
I also hated the suit.
His whiplash was not great.
Well, no, I'm talking about the Iron Man suit.
Oh,
because he got away from the
actual
the
big,
gold.
Went
to the yellow, or the red and the
Silver Centurion armor.
I never liked that armor.
Pepper to taste. I mean, that's fair. It's never been my favorite, but I respect Bob Layton and all those guys for that one. But they did the suitcase armor. Was that like a little nod to that? No points for that one.
Did we get something like that in Avengers? He had the thing. This was Avengers was after.
Yeah, it is. That was after. Yeah.
Yeah, he had the thing on his hand and all.
Yeah, and it came to him. That's right. Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer. That was fun.
I like Sam Rockwell. I didn't like him in that character.
Wow. I really hope he comes back, actually, because I mean,
it would be nice, but it's. And I love Sam Rockwell. It just didn't do it for me.
All right.
There wasn't anything about that movie I really cared for.
I mean, ScarJo got some.
She was awful. I was so mad. I was so mad. I was mad and that one on that character, I was mad at Avengers.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, what is going on? And then Winter Soldier came out, and I'm like, finally, she's doing something.
I was going to ask, like, what movie is it that she's Widow to you?
That was it.
I get it.
And then
we...
an Age of Ultron.
Okay.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what happened to the other one?
Yeah, like, what? Why did you
and
change?
I go, oh, that's right. Joss Whedon.
Well, hey, listen, in the Russos we trust, they did a great job with fleshing her character out far better than we had seen her in previous entries.
Right.
So
right.
That's fair. That's fair. Do you want to count your Thors as one entry or two?
It's one.
Okay.
So that and Eternals.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, you didn't have to pick Eternals. I
picked I didn't like Eternals.
All right.
I mean, it's got to be. I mean, I couldn't really think of anything that outside of
that one that you
like
like.
Iron Man 2.
Okay. All right.
Because I mean, I could have. Like even the Ant-Man movies, like the last one was like whatever, but the thing I did like about it was that it was a movie it was made by Jack Kirby.
Very much so. Like you felt Kirby-isms all throughout that thing.
And maybe that's the nerd in me, but that's fine. I don't care.
I will say
it's not a great movie.
Age of Ultron made me love Ant-Man 1 even more because it was so bad, and Ant-Man was it felt so good after that one. So I'm sure somewhere in the multiverse there's a version of me that never saw Age of Ultron and watched Ant-Man and hated it. But I'm glad in this one, nah.
The first Ant-Man is okay. I don't
fun.
think it's a great movie. I think it's definitely fun.
Yeah.
I just think that like the second one's forgettable and the third one is not very good.
Yes. Yes, indeed. No, I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious as to what would make your bottom 3 MCU movies. Comment below. We want to hear them. If you want to get into why, definitely type it up. And if we get a chance, we'll come back and do a comment section read and talk about them. If you have an issue with us picking your favorite as one of the worst, find us on Twitter. We'll talk about it. We won't argue, though. I'm not doing that. We will just simply hear you out. We'll make some comments. We might laugh at you. But no, that's just the way it is. We've said what we said and we meant it. Is that fair? I think that's fair.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you guys for tuning into the Chatterverse. I'm Victor Dandridge, the hardest working man in comics.
And I'm Bill, and I'm still trying to remember what Ant-Man 2 was about.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.